Hi, everyone. My name is Jason Kirchick, and I am the Director of Performance Improvement here at Brownville Memorial Hospital. And it really is a pleasure to be with you all today. And the reason why I'm here today is because my job focuses on making sure that our performance at Brownville Memorial Hospital is really meeting the needs of our patients and our population. And based on current surveys, we have found that a lot of our patients are very unhappy with the health information that they're receiving, and really condensing that down to saying that they really don't understand the information that we're giving them. And if our patients and our community can't understand the health information that we're giving them, we're going to lead into higher healthcare costs. We're going to lead into more people coming back for care, which puts a bigger strain on the hospital's financial situation. So let's get the presentation started today. So we have some key areas of concerns that we need to address. And as you can see from the slide, it says there are 5 key areas of concern that have been identified to upgrade Brownville Memorial Hospital to a higher patient-centered medical home. And after careful review of surveys completed by patients, we want this workshop to address 2 key areas of concern. The first one is we want to address language and cultural differences. And we can do this by utilizing support from translation services available through telephone right here that have already been established at the hospital. But we need to revisit that and we need to look at it and see if it truly is meeting the needs of our clientele. And finally, we want to address a key area of encouraging patients to ask questions. And that needs to start at every realm of what we do here. And that means we sit down with our patients and we allow them the opportunity to ask questions, to feel comfortable to ask questions, and really engaging in communication that is open and creates a safe space for them to open up and express what their concerns are. So why is this important? And this really all boils down to health literacy. And many of you may be familiar with this term. But imagine this, as healthcare professionals, imagine how difficult it is to manage the jargon every day that we need to manage in our world. And terms are even difficult for ourselves to understand sometimes. Imagine how intimidating it is for a layperson who comes in, a patient, and is not familiar with certain vocabulary, how intimidating that must be for them, and how scary it must be. Well, also imagine the cultural barriers that exist. Our population is quite diverse here at Brownville Hospital, and for many of our patients and our people within the community, English is their second language. And so for a lot of the materials that we're putting out there, are people really grasping the information? Are they understanding it? And this is why health literacy is so important. If you can't understand the direction that your provider is giving you to manage your care, your own health, how are you ever going to be able to implement it? So again, what is health literacy? The Institute of Medicine of the National Academies defines health literacy as follows. It's the degree to which individuals have the capacity to obtain, process, and understand basic health information and services needed to make appropriate health decisions. Again, I think I've covered that pretty much, but that's what the actual definition of health literacy is. Simply stated, we need our patients to understand their medical diagnoses and health-related issues in language and terminology that they can understand. This will lead to better health outcomes. So again, addressing the first key area of concern is addressing the language and cultural differences. And why is this concern important to health literacy? Well, by addressing cultural and language barriers that patients and families experience, it ensures proper takeaway and understanding. And this allows patients and families to manage care more effectively. One of the key components from the CDC states that the US healthcare system is challenging even for Americans. For people who come from different countries, cultures with limited English skills, it can be overwhelming. It is our responsibility to ensure we communicate in ways our patients understand. And I think we're going to get there. The second key area of concern is encouraging patients to ask questions. We reviewed this a little earlier. And why is this important? Because creating a culture that allows patients to feel completely comfortable asking any and all questions ensures they have the tools they need to effectively manage their health. Again, going back to the earlier argument of imagine if you're a person from another country and English is your second language. You are giving an overwhelming amount of information to them, sometimes about their care needs, sometimes about accessing resources out in the community, sometimes about coordinating with family members, about how they're going to get to their appointments. If they can't understand what they need to do to manage their care, it's going to lead to a host of other problems. So how are we going to address these areas of concern? Well, here's a little bit of an overview of a training that the hospital is going to establish, and you'll see in the upcoming months ahead. We've created an exercise that will allow you to demonstrate clear health communication principles and health literacy methods that can be effectively used directly with patients to improve the two key areas of concern here at Brownville Memorial Hospital. Again, it's the addressing the language and cultural differences and encouraging patients to ask questions. And really what we want to do is, as we've reviewed these key areas of concern, we want to make sure that we are able to let our patients and their family members address their issues and bring them to our attention in a way that they feel is an open and safe space. For the exercise, we're going to need the following materials. We have the PowerPoint presentation and the overview which has been given. We also have some handouts, some visual aids and evaluation forms that you'll all get and will be distributed among the tables for participants. And then we just need your active involvement. These exercises are very basic and very simple, but what it allows us to do is go through a simulation and practice and actually execute, practicing these skills for the key areas of concerns that we want to address. And by the end of the training, what you'll actually be able to do is go back and implement them with our patients and within the community. There's also an evaluation period that will happen afterwards, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. So here are the steps to the exercise. Part 1, you're going to turn to your peers and practice the following scenarios. The first scenario, what language do you feel most comfortable speaking with your doctor? Second, would you like an interpreter? The third, in which language would you feel most comfortable reading medical or healthcare instructions? And finally, I'm not familiar with your culture and beliefs. Can you teach me what I might need to know so I can better treat you? If you follow just these 4 basic questions with one of our patients, you can imagine the amount of information that we're going to get that is going to enable us to help them better. And it's going to enable them to manage their care much more effectively. The second part of the exercise is simply to debrief with your peers. Talk about what your experience was. Were asking the questions difficult? Did you feel awkward? And you'll be able to actually give a presentation afterwards on how the task actually went. And you're going to be able to provide us better feedback to actually enhance the training for future groups. And the final part of the evaluation is each group will have the opportunity to debrief the simulation experiment in the case of the study scenario that they have been assigned. You want to take approximately 15 to 20 minutes and write down 5 to 10 important takeaways from the simulation experiment. And we'll be actually able to share that with the larger group later on. You want to give a 3 to 5 minute presentation on the takeaways you learned from the simulation and discuss any challenges or opportunities that would be important to consider in the future. And finally, each participant will visit the online survey and complete the questions and provide feedback of the training and simulation experience. This last part is really key and very important. We need everyone to take actually some responsibility and actually take some investment in this project. We want you to be able to hone this in and be able to help our patients and our community moving forward. Here are just some of the references from some of the material that we've covered from today. And we're going to start to break up into our groups and actually have an opportunity to get familiar with the training and go over the evaluation pieces. And so we're going to get started with that. And I really want to thank everyone for their opportunity for this presentation. And we'll look to get started in a few moments.